My name's Austin. This is the Mopar Garage, and we build cool stuff in here. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We're going to do something totally different today. We are going to go through a quick story behind my coolest project and my most popular video, which at the time I uploaded this video on YouTube, I barely even knew what YouTube was. I threw a video up of my project when it was complete. I'll throw a link up right in the corner right here that you can click on to watch that video. All it is a quick walk around of the finished product. So what you guys may or may not know, prior to building trucks and cars for a hobby, the only time I worked on trucks was trying to keep them on the road. I didn't do it for fun back then. My fun was, I used to race dirt bikes and I used to build them. So we used to love restoring old bikes, bringing them back to life. And so my dream dirt bike to restore at that time, and probably still would be, a 1997 Kawasaki KX 125. My favorite motocross racer, Ricky Carmichael, that was his rookie season. It was 1997. I wanted to build a replica of the bike that he rode, Splitfire Pro Circuit Kawasaki. So kind of searched high and low, and at the time I was living in New Hampshire, so found a 97 KX 125 in Massachusetts, went down, picked it up for $600 or $700. It was in rough shape, had a hole in one of the side cases where the power valve mechanism had come apart, and I knew it had issues, but that's okay. I wanted to do a full restoration, frame up on this thing. I worked at a Kawasaki dealer, so I had a lot of resources other people wouldn't. I was able to locate new old stock parts. I was able to I had full access to service manuals. My service manager was a Kawasaki technician back in the 90s. So he was a Kawasaki technician forever. So I had his knowledge to kind of go off of. And so I knew I'd be in pretty good shape for this build. So got it home. At the time, I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. So I actually had to enlist the help of some coworkers, and we lifted the bike up 3 flights of stairs, got it into my guest bedroom, and tore it down. Obviously, the frame, everything was in terrible shape. Radiators were in horrible shape. Once I got the motor out of it, the motor was obviously pretty dirty, pretty rough, had the hole in the side case. And then coming to find out, there was a broken off piece on the exhaust port of the cylinder. So obviously, I can't fix that. Had to send that cylinder out and get it fixed. Anyway, got the frame all apart, got everything all cleaned up. Obviously, there were some parts that were discontinued, so wasn't able to source all of them, but the plan was to really turn this into more of a tribute bike than a perfect replica. Went through, replaced everything. I mean, the water pump impeller, the whole power valve mechanism, sent the cylinder out, had all that redone. The swing arm had all kinds of gouges in it. It looked like crap, so I filled all the gouges in with filler, repainted that, sandblasted the entire frame, repainted that, found almost the exact color. That it was the same color code, but it did come out slightly different than what they actually used back then. Replaced all the linkage bearings, sandblasted all that, brought all that back to life. All the electrical components are brand new. I bought an entire nut and bolt kit. I was able to find one with all the original OEM style bolts. So I replaced every bolt in it with the original and correct bolt. Got my cylinder back. The people who reconditioned the cylinder did a really good job kind of refinishing that exhaust port. Did all the internals in the motor, got all those done. Motor came out great. Frame and swing arm came out awesome. And like I said, it's more of a tribute bike than a perfect replica. So redid, kind of took artistic license on all the radiators and hoses and things like that. Was able to find all that pretty affordable. Redid the carburetor and all the fuel lines. Obviously all the handlebars and controls were brand new. Everything from the fuel petcock. I mean, there wasn't a piece on this motorcycle that wasn't brand new. The suspension was done by a buddy of mine who owned a shop, Wide Open Racing. He did all the suspension. Interestingly enough, a lot of the parts were very difficult to find. Had to make some of my own. I had to have the seat cover and seat foam. All that was done by Guts, but I had to do some kind of custom fabrication of that to get it all to fit. The toughest part to find was a Pro Circuit pipe. Looked everywhere, could not find a factory pipe, factory finish, I should say, not as opposed to the nickel-plated chrome finish. Could not find one, searched high and low, ended up saying, you know what, it's a tribute bike, not a perfect replica. I said, I'm gonna do a chrome one, right? A nickel-plated one. Searched high and low, couldn't find one of those either. So after about 2-3 weeks, I found what I believe to be the last Pro Circuit pipe in stock for that motorcycle. I found it in a Dennis Kirk warehouse in the West Coast somewhere. I forget what state it was, but they didn't have it listed as in stock on the website. This was all phone calls. I was calling old Kawasaki dealers, and luckily, like I said, I had a lot of resources because I worked at a Kawasaki dealer, but started calling individual warehouses, WPS, Parts Unlimited, Tucker-Rocky, and then eventually Dennis Kirk had one. It was a chrome-plated Pro Circuit pipe, and I snatched it up immediately. They sent it out. Still looked brand new, even though it had been on the shelf for who knows how many years. So I threw that on. Was also able to find a pretty close silencer to what would have been on there when Ricky wrote it. Obviously, chain and sprockets brand new. And then came time for the graphics, and a buddy of mine, Chris Ackerman, based in Vermont, has a company called 139 Designs. Obviously, he can do anything with graphics. So I sent him Ricky's bike, and I said, a picture of the original Ricky Carmichael bike, and said, this is what we're going for. I want my own numbers on it, with a couple of my own touches, but I want it to be basically that bike. And he came up with a graphics kit that was pretty darn close, looked awesome. I sourced all the plastic, got all the plastic the right color. You know, the rear fender and number plates were black, and then the shroud and front number plate and front fender were all green. And then, was able to get the thing together, and it actually went a little bit viral on must have been Instagram back then, or maybe it was Facebook, I'm not sure, but 139 Designs posted it. A couple of companies like Pro Circuit posted it. Steve Mathis from Pulp MX posted it. I mean, pretty big deal people posted this thing, and it went kind of viral. I got, probably the most likes I'd ever gotten on an Instagram picture. And it was cool, man. Got a lot of recognition. It was too perfect. I was too scared to ride it. I didn't want to scratch the thing. So to put it on display at the dealership I worked at, it sat there for 3 or 4 months. And some guy from Vermont came in and looked at it, saw it, and offered me an absurd amount of money for it. So I sold it. Wish I hadn't. I wish 2 things. 1, I wish I had a YouTube channel back then, so I documented all this. And 2, kind of wish I had kept it, but it was a serious amount of money, and I had spent way too much money putting the thing together. So took the money. This guy took the bike, and you know what the worst part is? He rode it. He took it out, rode it on the trails, and I saw it back up for sale probably a year later, and it was just hammered. It hadn't been washed in who knows how long. Dents in the pipe. It was such a bummer. But you know what? Anyway, we got a really popular YouTube video out of it. And And it's funny because that video didn't take off until I really started getting into the YouTube thing with the second gen project and the Daytona project. And then once I started posting my new videos, that video really took off. So like I said, I think it's at 16,000 views, but every 48 hours it averages 400 to 600 views. So pretty cool. I'm sure it's gotten me a bunch of my subscribers, which is great. On that subject, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Just wanted to take you through the story behind that video because a lot of people ask, and yeah, thought that was something that was kind of overdue. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a comment below. I know this video is a little bit different. We're not working on one of the projects today, but really wanted to kind of go through this for you guys. So give a subscription if you'd be so kind. We are on track. Actually, we're ahead of schedule to get to our 100 subscribers goal for the month of before the end of March. So we're getting there, and it's exciting. We'll see you guys on the next one.